Welcome to GenX Journeys, the podcast that's all about rediscovering, reinventing, and thriving. I'm your host, Paul Stressner, and if you're part of Generation X, this show's for you. We dive into real stories of resilience, reinvention, and personal growth, all while celebrating the past and charging full speed into the future. Whether it's nostalgia-fueled throwbacks, inspiring conversations, or motivation to help you level up, GenX Journeys is here to remind you your best days are not behind you. They're happening right now, and you're just getting started. So let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome to GenX Journeys. I'm Paul Stressner. And before getting into today's episode, I always like to start with a little gratitude. And today I'm really feeling grateful for the writing journey I'm on. Wrapping up my story for the Rich Thinking Project. You can see my head. Yeah. So that's I'm co-authoring that book with I think about 30 people, and it'll be coming out October 2nd. So I'm wrapping things up with that. So that's exciting. There's a lot of great authors, so I'm excited about that. And it just writing this, it's really making me reflect and dig deeper. I'm writing about mindset and how it helped me finish the marathon this past year after failing to do it the first time I did it. So, and I stuck with it. And so I'm writing about my mindset with that and hopefully it'll help other people. And on top of that, I'm also a part of another big project called Born to Risk. And it's the inaugural Veterans Edition, which will be coming out. It'll be coming out before Rich Thinking and actually be coming out pretty soon. I think it's I believe it might be printed out already, so that'll look for that coming soon. I'll keep you all posted about that. And so I have a lot, happening right now. I'm just grateful to be in this creative space. It's so exciting. And actually, speaking of Born to Risk, that's how I connected with today's guest, Matt Melvin. Matt has a very unique and intense story. He's been through prison, multiple life challenges, and a lot of situations that would break most people. But what stood out to me isn't just that what he's been through, it's how he thinks, how he processes things, and how he talks about taking responsibility and having real, honest conversations, even when they're uncomfortable. So no small talk here, baby. And that's what we're getting into today: mindset shifts, mental health. And so many of us, especially Gen X, we were never really taught how to deal with what's going on inside. So this is one of those conversations that might challenge you a little bit, but also hopefully it will get you thinking in a different way. So let's get into it. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Yes, exciting. And before we get started, would you like to say anything that you're grateful for today?
I'm grateful for God above, God in heaven, for the sunshine,
Yeah.
getting up in the morning, having amazing friends in my life that I can call, which I didn't always have in my life.
Mhm.
Meeting amazing people through Emilio's group, the Born to Risk.
Yeah. And you've been through a lot, a lot. You have a book about it as well, and you've been to uh prison, you've had multiple life resets, and for people hearing your story for the first time, you like to give a version of your story, how
My
like
book is called Bullied Behind Bars, a gay Christian Trump supporter goes to prison. I
mhm.
wrote it the second time I was in prison, 10 different institutions, 4 states, 16 months in prisons, and a month and a half in a halfway house. I
Yeah.
spent a lot of time in solitary confinement. While the prison may have had my body, they didn't have my mind. And it allowed me to work on myself, sharpening my saw, getting into my word, exercising, making my bed, praying, fasting. All of these disciplines have helped me to become the man I am today.
Okay. Yeah, and your spirituality is a big part of your life, and yeah, I feel like that's been a big part of how you've made it through. Was there like a certain point that you dove into your faith, or were you always Christian? Were you always
For most of my life, I was a lukewarm Christian. I was going to
okay?
church on Sunday, then going back to my old ways and doing whatever I wanted every other day of the week. To
Mm.
be a disciple for God is 100% obedience. 90% obedience is 100% disobedience with God.
Hmm.
The way I like
Yeah.
to tell people, when you go to get your car aligned, you get your car aligned with the manufacturer. There's no negotiation with God. It's not a contract. There's no back and forth. It's either God's way or you go your own way.
Hmm.
I had a near death experience in August 2015 when I was driving on 495 in the middle lane going 72 miles an hour, which is quite slow for me. I've been known to go 130. When a Lexus SUV was traveling west, sorry, yes, west towards the beach, came down an embankment, crossed in front of my car, and but by the grace of God, I was saved, I was protected. And that was the moment that I believe God was drawing a line in the sand, saying, you're either going to do my will or you're going to do your own will. You're going to go through the prison system, come out, go back, come out. And I didn't want that for my life. I
Hmm.
needed to make drastic changes. And while I was in prison, I did the 12-step program that a lot of people only think applies to drinking or drugs. In fact, it applies to any addiction that the human being is going through. Mine was stealing, and that helped me to overcome that addiction.
Yeah, and that's how you went to prison the first time, right? With the
With
yeah,
the car, I worked
with
at
the
a car
car, you still
dealership
feel like.
for Nissan. They didn't pay me my commissions. I
Mhm.
impulsively chose to try to sell one of their cars, got caught.
Yeah,
Here's the thing,
is
it
it
didn't just start with car
with
theft. It
cars?
started
Mhm.
with driving off without paying
Gradually.
for gas, walking out of restaurants without paying. It's a rush that some people don't really understand. I think that part of it is because of the impulsivity that I have, being that
Mhm.
I have autism. I'm on the Asperger's spectrum. But
Mhm.
the other piece would be that I am fearless. And so there's a fine line, I think, between being fearless and fearing God,
Mhm.
because
Yes.
both can be healthy and both could be unhealthy depending upon how you look at it.
Yeah. It's so funny you mentioned that. I had Bible study last night, and we were just talking about that slippery slope. You start off with something small, and then it could just snowball and get bigger and bigger if you're still still sinning, still going against God, and yeah, yeah.
I think it
So,
always starts off small, Paul,
hmm.
and then it accelerates.
Yeah. And yeah, that goes with any addiction, really. You always hear about marijuana being the gateway drug, and people go bigger than that. You start drinking, and then you can't stop. It affects your family, your work, and everything. So yeah, yeah, it's like those little missteps, and that you need to course correct. And like I said, that I know I'm familiar with the 12-step programs because alcoholism is in my family and stuff, so I'm very familiar with that, and it's like a great community too. You follow your steps and you grow from that, but you also can have a community that of people that are healing themselves, and you're better off with people that are healing, and then instead of with the people that are getting you in trouble. So
It's
um
not just a 12-step program, it's a lifestyle.
yeah. Hmm.
And
Yeah,
it's
you're not
not
done.
how
Yeah.
fast can I get through the 12 steps and move on with my life.
Hmm.
Because what you'll find is that when you're in an addiction mindset, people who are chronically addicted may overcome one addiction and then have another addiction.
Hmm. Yep. Let's see. Another topic that we had talked about was about victimhood, versus ownership. And so, when did that shift start happening for you? When you say, "Oh, yeah, I got to fix this."
When I started writing my book and I realized how
Mhm.
my path had led me to a lot of poor decisions because I was not taking accountability for my action. I was in victimhood. I was blaming other people. I couldn't recognize my impact on other people until I started loving myself, forgiving myself, and forgiving others. And that all
Mhm.
started with looking in the mirror and telling myself, I love you.
That's huge.
Also getting rid of negative people out of my life.
Hmm.
I try to surround myself with positive people and people that can build me up.
Hmm.
We live in a very negative world. It's very easy to get into negative. I challenge you and every one of your listeners to look at something that you may see as negative and just do a 180 shift on that. You can look at a glass as half empty or half full. It's all based on your perspective. You know, a good friend of mine, we talked this morning, and I was telling him that I've been a part of, 12 or 13 men's groups. And I said that oftentimes I find that men are talking about me, gossiping. And he said to me, well, that's a good thing. That means you're invoking something in them that is bringing out something that is exactly like them. Because a lot of times when somebody bothers us, it's a mirror, it's a reflection back on us that it's something we do that we can't see that it might have an impact on another person. So I encourage you, if you are I'm out in the world and I see something that bothers me, investigate it. Look at
Hmm.
why that bothers you, because it's
Yeah.
all goes right back to the self.
And it's so easy to fall into that, especially everything online these days, and you go into these silos, and you're not looking at yourself. And another good point too is that there's a lot that you can't control. You can't control things that happen. All you can do is control how you handle it, how you react to it. So I think that's a big part of it as well.
I can only control my thoughts. And
Hmm.
when I'm going into a situation, I look at it, is this a good situation for me to be
Hmm.
in? And if it's not, I get myself out of that.
Yep.
If you or somebody that's listening has an addiction, do not put yourself in precarious situations. I know a lot of men struggle with lust. Do not go to gyms. Do not go to beaches. Try to be in an environment where you're not tempted to to
Hmm.
to sin, because sin doesn't just happen. It's in the mind first and then it goes to the heart.
Yep. And yeah, and also the media you consume as well. Like I know sex addicts, there's certain shows that they can't watch, and because they'll display like women or men that are you know scantily clad, or there's situations, and then that triggers them, and yeah. So yeah, between your environment and what you're consuming, that's huge, and just to be aware of that, yeah, that's huge. And like you're saying, you need to reflect on yourself, and you stop and think.
And journal what
Sure.
comes up when
Hmm.
somebody it triggers you. Write about it, think about it, talk to somebody, and make I statements. That's
Hmm.
much more powerful. It's very easy to get into you, we, they statements, but that's all victim.
Hmm.
If you're in victim, you cannot get help.
Yeah.
I live with a mother who's in victimhood 24/7, 365.
Hmm.
And it's really a terrible place. I was in it. It was an awful place. And
Hmm.
I went to 35 therapists and couldn't figure out what was going on until I started doing work on myself and not looking to another person to help me. That's when the real transformation began.
Hmm.
It's not just a one and done, it's a lifelong journey. I want friends in my life that are working on themselves, that don't
Hmm.
think that they have everything figured out
Yeah, so nobody
and
does.
are
So yeah. Hmm.
very quick and set when they try to point the finger at somebody else, they always understand that there's three fingers pointing back at them.
Hmm.
And that's the,
Yep.
this whole mirroring. I learned that from doing men's weekends because guess what? I was almost every weekend I did, there was a man that had to do what we call a clearing. And a clearing is simply a process where a man has energy towards another man. The energy is really it's about that man. That the man that he has energy with is bringing up something that is uncomfortable for him. The reason I'm it happens often for me is because I'm very outspoken. I don't sugarcoat things. I am who I am. I am the way you see me today is the way you see me in every other environment. Guess what? A lot of people wear masks.
Yeah.
And I wore a mask for a long, long time, and it never served me. And I have very good friends that wear masks. The problem is, I don't know who they are.
Mm.
And my guess is all the masks that they wear in the world is not genuinely who they are. I don't know who they are because some of my friends are people pleasers. And I ask them, who are you? And the sad thing is, some people don't
I don't know.
even know.
Hmm. Yeah.
They're looking
It's,
for outside affirmation. And
hmm.
when we do that, we will always be disappointed
Yeah.
because I'm never going to affirm somebody in the way that they think they I should affirm them. And I refuse to affirm somebody that's living in sin.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't do it. Part of the issue was that nobody confronted me when I was stealing, which is a big reason why it continued. Nobody
Hmm.
said, Matt, you got to stop. We got to figure this thing out. You got to stop.
Yeah. If you're, and I think, I don't know, I feel like a lot of times people aren't themselves because they're afraid to be themselves and they're forcing themselves to fit in with the crowd. But if you're authentic, if you're being yourself, you're gonna attract, the right people around you. You'll find yourself in the right community. You just need to let go and figure yourself out. And
It
if you
depends on
don't
your
know,
perspective.
hmm.
If if I'm surrounded by complainers, I want to run the other way.
Hmm.
It's very easy to get into complaining victim mode. It's a lot more
Yes.
challenging to look at something positively that may be a struggle. I had to, when I was in prison, I was singing and dancing around. This was uncharacteristic of a prison. You're supposed to be angry. You're supposed to be screaming. You're supposed to be this. No,
Hmm.
you're not. Who said you're supposed to be like that? The
Hmm.
Paul was in prison many, many times, and he was jumping up and down, joyful. I think we need to be happy in all circumstances, and that is hard. I understand that. I've been in very, very challenging circumstances.
Oh, his name slipping my mind. That there is an author who wrote about joy. He found joy when he was in a concentration camp in Nazi Germany. I can't remember. I wish I could remember his name. Although people listening might know. But yeah, like even in that darkness, he found a way to find joy. So it's just work to, you know, shift your mindset and, look for the positive. I mean, what else are you gonna do?
And get out of comfort. It's very
Hmm.
easy to get into comfort.
Yeah.
I encourage each one of your listeners to do something risky every single day. Does that mean robbing a bank? No, absolutely not. What does it mean to take a risk? It means going up to somebody that you may not otherwise associate with and say hello. How are you? Hold the door for somebody.
Mhm.
It's those small steps that can help somebody.
Yep.
The true character of a man is how he treats somebody that can't do anything for him.
Yeah, I know when I was younger, I was painfully shy, everything, and now here I am with I took these steps and now I have a podcast. I just meet strangers. I go to go to events out of state and meet people and I do my races. I I go up to local people to find out about the area, just saying hello and asking, tell them what I'm doing, and they're like thrilled to show off and tell me about, what, where they grew up and about the local area. So yeah, it just lifts you up, and then you just take, just like you could take steps to go down a really bad slide there, you can also take steps the opposite way and make things better for your life.
Find
Um,
an accountability partner
mhm,
that can hold you accountable for your actions. It isn't a friend. Your
mhm,
accountability partner is somebody that's going to be honest with you. And sometimes we don't always want to hear the truth. The truth
yep,
sometimes hurts,
hurts, yep,
but lies in the end hurt a lot more.
yep,
All secrets will be revealed.
mhm,
If you are holding something secret, tell somebody. It will
mhm,
come out.
yep,
And I don't want you to be in a situation like I was in.
mhm,
Talk to people, don't isolate.
yep,
Find activities where you can move your body, dancing,
mm,
cooking, gardening. I'm an ocean swimmer. Get away from activities that are isolating, TV, sports, video games. Those are very depressive activities, in my opinion.
mhm,
And they really don't offer any value.
right, yep. Yeah, that for example, for me, I might do running groups. I'm in a writing group, so even though that's kind of like a solo thing, you're just writing, but if you're with a group of people, you feel the energy and help each other out. And I mean, not even to mention church, all the activities we do. Like I said, I did Bible study last night. We do things for the community. We have get-togethers and stuff. So just yeah, surrounding yourself with people because you can go in a dark place if you're by yourself all the time and isolated. Another thing I'd like to get into that I know you like to talk about is that a lot of us Gen Xers, we grew up, not talking about our feelings and we just push through and deal with that. So I know you have opinions about talking about your feelings and if you want to talk about that. So, when we were talking, yeah, you were even saying how a lot of times you hear men talking, they'll just talk about sports and then, you avoid topics that are, meaningful.
It took me 3 years for one of my closest friends to finally stop using sports, whether leaves turning in New England, as defense mechanisms. It's a lot easier to talk about things that have no significance. It's much more challenging and risky to talk about feelings and what's going on with us.
Mhm.
The six different emotions: scared, angry, happy, excited, and then loving. And it was five, not six.
Mhm.
Those are the five emotions. And when you're in an emotion, a lot of guys try to say, I'm kind of sad. You're either sad or you're not. There's no, just like with God, you're either all in for God or you're not for God. God
Mhm.
will spit out lukewarmness. And I encourage
Exactly.
all of you to
Hmm.
not get into lukewarmness. You're either 100% in or you're 100% out. I grew up in a
Hmm.
family of Stoics. We were taught, suck it up, buttercup. Men don't show emotion. And look what happened.
Hmm.
It didn't
Yep.
serve me. How does masking serve you? How does not being authentic serve you? And if it serves you, I want you to email me because I will challenge you that it's not serving you. And if it is serving you, it's serving you in a very negative fashion.
Hmm.
And how we say, how we talk is how we're feeling.
Yep.
There's always two sides of the coin. And if you're a negative person, I encourage you to start wording things in a positive way. And you will see your life transform. I've seen it.
Mhm.
When I'm negative, my friends don't want to talk to me. When
Yep.
I'm positive, I get a lot more phone calls.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
the same way. I had a friend that was always negative, and I just had to get rid of him because I couldn't take it anymore.
it sucks your energy out. Yeah.
He was an energy suck. And every time I tried to give him advice, he wouldn't listen to it. And some people don't want to take advice.
Mhm.
You have to be in the awareness mindset and think about how you're coming across to others.
I mean, there has to come a point where you need to change. Like if you're a negative person like that, I mean, you've got to be noticing that people are kind of ghosting you, disappearing, and that, like you said, I can't imagine that that would feel good just being like that all the time. So, yeah, you just gotta try that mindset shift. A combination, like you said, I love the writing, the journaling. You write that out. It's just, I I've gone to like therapy, and they always knew when I hadn't been writing. They could tell by my mood, and then they could tell when I have been writing. So it does help a lot. Yeah, and between that and talking with people.
And if something triggers you in life, out in the world, write about it.
Mm,
And then ask a friend, tell them about the situation and tell them what triggered you and ask them, would that trigger you? And my guess is it probably would. Sometimes it will, but my judgment is that oftentimes something that triggers me would not trigger another person. It's all about how I grew up, the mannerism, how somebody comes across, my environment, my life.
experiences, yep.
It, I'll give you a brief example. I'm in New England. We're very direct,
Yep.
very to the point. I meet some guys in the Midwest and they think that I'm aggressive or that not friendly. Again, there's always two perspectives. That's why it's so important to get to know somebody. And for me, when I listen to somebody and they're talking about themselves for more than a minute or two, I tune out. Because ego, you know what ego stands for? Edging God out.
That's right. Yeah.
Narcissistic people love to talk about themselves. They don't
Mhm.
care about anybody else in the room.
Yeah. So that's a good example of somebody that would trigger you because of the way you grew up with your mother, and then yeah, that just
My
it must
mother
give you a
loves to talk
visceral
about
reaction.
herself. I've been in men's groups where some guys love to talk about themselves. And I encourage you when you're in a group of people, try to be short and concise. I'm a very short and concise person
Mhm.
and wait for the invitation for somebody to say, oh, tell me more. And then open up a little bit more. But when you overwhelm somebody right away, they take a step back. And
Exactly.
here's how you can tell. If I'm in a room, oh, the shoes never lie. You watch somebody's shoes and you can tell if they're interested or not. If their shoes are faced towards the door, you've done something to trigger
Hmm.
them. If you, when you board a plane, the stewardess always look at your shoes when you're boarding.
So what do you mean by that? Why would those two just look at your shoes?
That's a good question. You can tell how much money somebody has based on their shoes.
Oh, okay.
It's a good indication of how much
Uh-huh.
money somebody has.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, maybe they it took them off on how they'll be like treated on the, the flight and everything. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I love this conversation we've been having. But before we wrap up, I like to do like a couple of fun questions. So who are some of your few favorite music artists, if you have any that, especially like if when you were growing up or they listening now?
John Denver,
Mm,
Winona Judd, Reba McEntire, Whitney Houston,
mm.
Bill Collins.
Yeah, I saw her all Winona Judd in concert before. She was incredible. Love her. Yeah. And did you have any crushes, like teen crushes when you were growing up?
I did.
No, no, okay.
Never been my personality to have a crush on somebody.
Mhm,
It's a little fantasy world. I try not to get
mhm.
into the fantasy world.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. Yeah. All right. Now you want to tell people they can reach you with you want to mention your book and what that's about and how people can get it.
My book is Bullied Behind Bars, a gay Christian Trump supporter goes to prison. My book is available on Amazon. You can follow me on Instagram, Bullied Behind Bars, X Bars Bullied, Facebook, Matthew.melvin.5621. You can email me, bulliedbehindbars@gmail.com. If you follow me on Instagram, you can see all my poems.
Awesome. This has been such a great conversation. I'm so happy. I'm so happy we met, and we'll actually be meeting in person later this year. So I'm excited about that. So, and thank you so much for joining me. And I feel like you've helped a lot of people here. So yeah, thank you so much for that, and putting your story out there and giving great advice. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
All right, and thank you everybody for watching or listening. And really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. And remember,
be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes!
sit, Lizzie, sit. Good dog.